Joining us now for a deeper look into the nation's classrooms is Marissa Streit, the CEO of PragerU. So Marissa, I'm really glad to have you on tonight because it actually coincides with a lot that's going on. The 1619 project, the president's announcement of the 1776 commission, and also a project that your organization is working on. But before we get there, I want to ask you, what is the state of the U.S. education system?
You know, I think if you ask people who have been running the schools, they're going to claim that everything is wonderful. And if we throw more money at them, they can solve things. But as we continue to give more money to public schools, us parents are not really seeing that our kids are really benefiting. So many parents are just very, very upset. We had a deep look this past year into the education system in America because of the lockdowns. Kids have been at home. We've been taking a close look at what's happening. And we're not happy. We're not happy with the curriculum. We're not happy that many of the schools, especially public schools have become left-wing indoctrination centers. We're not happy that when we're sending our kids, they're being taught that America is racist, that there is a class warfare, there is divide, that if you're a young boy, you should feel guilty, even if you're 7 years old, for being born simply white. And, you know, parents are upset. And you know what? We're very lucky that the president and the White House is paying attention to that because a big part of this country is very upset and frankly sick of it.
And Marissa, usually when we talk about this subject, or typically I should say, we're talking about college campuses. But I think a lot of Americans are starting to realize that the indoctrination allegation isn't just taking place at college campuses. They're also seeing it now in high schools, elementary schools, all the way down the board. I mean, every now and then we'll see a story come up on local news, something of that, where a mother is upset because a teacher told kids to write bad about President Trump or glorify President Obama, something like that. And I think it is worth noting that teachers are people. They are going to have opinions, but it's a matter of if that opinion should be infused into the classroom. So I know that your organization is doing something to help parents to teach their kids, or at least give them the resources that they need to kind of make their own curriculum a little bit. Can you break that down?
Yeah, you're right, Alex. For a very long time, we thought that the problem was mostly on college campus. And there is a problem with college campus, but truly the left-wing indoctrination is cradle to grave, and it starts at grade school, and it's going younger and deeper and deeper. I'm holding this one book that I just happened to look at for kindergartners about, you know, activism when you're basically 5 years old. So the problem is becoming that we are sending our kids to schools and they are basically being politically brainwashed at such an early age. So what we've decided to do this past summer is actually give parents a way. First of all, parents need a community because the left is telling them that they're the only ones who are upset. They're the only ones who are upset with what they're seeing in their child's school. And that is not the case. There are hundreds and thousands of parents who are very, very upset and they don't know where to go. So we've decided to create a community for parents who are upset with what they're seeing, and they can crowdsource solutions for what we are seeing in classrooms. So whether it's a mom who just wants to find another mom to talk about how to deal with what's happening in the school, or maybe it's a dad who wants to come up with a better curriculum, or maybe an after-school program, or maybe supplementary schools, or how to find antidotes to books like this. We are creating one giant community that people can subscribe to and crowdsource and speak about things and troubleshoot through the issues. In addition to that, we at PragerU have brought together some resources, both ones that we've curated and ones that we've produced ourselves, so that parents can know that there is a place that they can go to find either apolitical curriculum and content, or content that actually supports a pro-American narrative.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm still a little bit taken aback by the book you just showed, because it seems a little bit ironic because, I mean, racism is not something that babies are born with, for example. It's something that is taught. I mean, people, I would like to think, are inherently good, and anything evil is usually the product of their environment by people who want to infuse evil into the world. So I think that is something that the president was talking about last night with his executive order about the 1776 commission, but it's also worth noting that that looks to counter something known as the 1619 project, project put out by the New York Times. Do you think that, for example, that type of teaching, that being the 1619 Project, everybody knows that slavery is part of the American history and that it's a horrible part of the American history, but to use that as the centerpiece of teaching about our founding, do you think that's problematic?
I think that we absolutely need to teach kids about slavery. Of course, we need to teach kids about America's history, but we don't need to teach kids white guilt. And there's a huge difference between the two. If you're just born a few years ago, it is not your fault that slavery existed. And there really is a disconnect. People are saying, well, what are you expecting, that we just teach that America is perfect? We're not trying to teach that America is perfect. So first of all, there's a time and a place. I have a master's in education, and I'll tell you that there's something that you talk to a 7-year-old that you do not talk to a 17-year-old about, right? When you're 7 years old, you see the world in black and white. You don't understand the nuances. So to have to go and teach children that America is a horrible place, it's not the time for a young child to learn it. There is a time to learn that America, there is American pride. America is a great country, because it truly is. It's not perfect, and we don't have a perfect history. No country has a perfect history. However, to just tell kids to just grow up hating on their own country, hating themselves, feeling guilty about it, it is literally what is leading to the riots that we are seeing in the streets right now. And it's not a good thing. And, thankfully the president is getting involved. I think the 1619 Project is a horrible thing for America. It's incredibly divisive. And in fact, it's counterproductive.
And I mean, I think very at the beginning of our nation's founding, too, the idea of a more perfect union. I mean, right there admits that we are not a perfect country, but the mere fact that we strive to be is what makes this country so great, because there are places around the world where that is not the goal. They want to suppress, they want to keep those in power at the top, things of that nature. But there is something beautiful about this country, and I don't think it's something that should be ignored in the classrooms as well. But Marissa Streit, I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight, breaking down your program, what you're doing, and also the situation that's happening in the country. Thank you.